The Father Who Was the Source of Light. Part 1 of 2. This is episode 1 of a two-part narration. The Father Who Was the Source of Light, Part 1. In Hadhramaut, that land where mountains lean toward the sky as if guarding memory, and valleys flow like ancient secrets. Some men are not born as individuals, but as roots that anchor themselves deep in the soil of life. Men whose presence widens the days, and whose absence unsettles the balance of light. On the first Thursday of Ramadan, after nearly 80 years in his beloved city of Jeddah, my father's soul rose to the heavens. I cannot say he died. Death is too small a word for a man whose impact cannot be contained in an ending. Weeks before his departure, a dream unsettled me, a quiet prelude to what was coming. Then came the stroke. And then the second Thursday of Ramadan, 1447, when the lantern we had lived by, quietly, finally dimmed. I once thought I was living my own life. Only after he left did I realize how much of it I had lived through him. When people gather around a man's legacy. We prayed for him after Asr on Friday. The mosque filled to its second floor, faces from many cities, drawn not by obligation, but by the trace he had left in their lives. At the grave, one of his grandsons, barely past 20, stood with a steady voice, offering a prayer that carried the weight of knowing exactly who he was saying goodbye to. Then another group arrived, too late for the first prayer, and they prayed again. Prayer after prayer, blessing after blessing. I remembered the Prophet's words, "No Muslim dies, and 40 men who do not associate anything with Allah stand over his funeral, except that Allah grants them intercession for him." I looked at the rows. I did not see numbers. I saw intercession. Another hadith came to mind. When a servant is placed in his grave, and his companions turn away. And I stood there, reflecting. It felt as though God had written for him to be buried in the same cemetery where his mother and his son rested before him. A circle completed with mercy. It felt as though God had sent him a farewell, worthy of his steadiness, granting him the same firmness he had given others throughout his life, in public and in secret. A friend wrote to me, "The righteousness of children is often the fruit of a father's quiet prayers. How many prayers were never heard, yet blossomed years later. Such a trade never fails." End of episode 1. Episode 2 continues the story, the lessons, the wisdom, and the legacy he left behind.